seeing what happened here coming off of turn 4. Pretty sure it was the 18 of Brian Beach. It was. He gets very loose coming off the corner down into the 19 of Matt Horton. 78 of Brian Pizzakemi with nowhere to go here. The one car, Brandon Bennett, he gets into it as well. The 13 car gets clear. 81 gets clear.
I burnt the right front out again. So.
Oh man, keep your chin up because, completely different season. The next race you run is a complete race. And, you never know what can happen race to race. You could find yourself having a stroke of good luck and figuring out exactly how to drive these cars in the future. But before we let you go, man, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to here tonight? Sam here going into turn 1. So he's got the 25 of Brandon Miller behind him, who just went through him a little bit. Sam does have an issue with being low on blinker fluid. Not sure if that's what caused that or not. Oh, Sam. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Darlington Raceway, and welcome to the Output Racing League right here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel. We're so close to the start of the playoffs, including this race. There's only 4 races left in the regular season, and we head into our 4-race playoff system. So the points will really and truly start counting right now. Currently on top, we have Thomas Harmon and Jonathan Hernandez. They should be quite comfortably in. Got Matt Horton, Chris Champo, Matt Burgess, John Lizelle, and Travis Masia. Brian Pizzakemi, James Watson, and Jonas Marquez in the actually, and Brian Chambliss. He's tied on points with Jonas Marquez on countback. Looks like Marquez actually making the nod in, as everyone is in the pit lane right now. I'm pretty sure they're all just starting to get ready for the pit party. Sans the one John Lizelle, who is still out on track. He's trying to tame the Darlington Raceway here a little bit. Now the drivers will start getting ready for this pit party. Alright, looks like this one's going to be led away by Brian Harris. So he's sticking to the inside line, which will mean that Travis Massey and Matt Burgess are going to take the point in the pit party. Kyle Kraus going to be in behind Travis. Got John Lizelle coming up there to start in 4th. There's Brian Harris, the 5 of Mark Pentacalf, James Watson. Everyone preferring the outside line here for the start by the looks of things. We're all lined up and ready to go. And we're off and racing. Lots of check up in that outside line. Oh, around goes Watson. He hits Horton. Oh, Frank just caught it. Pizzakemi somehow missed it all. Hernandez with a big slide up the back straight. Nice save, actually. As the track too hard to tame is proving to be a tough mistress here tonight already in practice. Oh, sliding goes Brian Harris. Managed to save it though. Jonas Marquez getting into the outside wall there in turn 3. Oh, And around goes Hernandez again. We're going to be trying out some different camera angles because there's so many different camera angles available to us here at Darlington. It even has like dynamic TV1, dynamic TV2, and dynamic TV3, which doesn't look to be any different. They even have static TV. I like this because we use this one for crank it up. Ooh, a little touch there. Between Horton and Pentacalf. Actually gave Pentacalf a big boost, and he used it to tap Brian Harris with. Harris got left out in the cold because of it. We're still looking at Mark Pentacalf and Brian Harris here as they're circulating around the track. Like Brendan Bennett's in town. Got 19 drivers here for the race so far. Strength of field currently at 26.72. Oh, Alexandra Butters and Brandon Bennett getting into it a little bit there, coming out of turn 2. There's Brian Burchett in the number 100 car. Be making his Output Racing League debut. He's an 1844 I rating driver with an A class 2.18 safety rating. He's currently position 11 in practice. Looks like Frank Isaacson ran into a little bit more of a bother than we'd normally see him in. Now parked up against the inside wall. And just about have everyone on track right now. And from the looks of things, only 17 people have put down lap times. So we're still waiting on 2 more people to put down laps. So yeah, 19 drivers plus myself in the server with that strength of field of the 2672. This is Alexandra Butters, currently rolling around in 17th. Just behind Butters is Brian Chambliss. Darlington is one of those other tracks that has very hard to get to pit entrance. Now, it seems simple in theory because there's so much, apron between the track and the inside wall. But getting the road up for it is definitely a different task altogether. At least it's not like Dover and, being really, really slow. As Brandon Bennett has some troubles coming out of turn 2. There's Matt Horton and Jonas Marquez. Matt Horton's currently P6 in the standings. Marquez is currently 16th. Horton tries to go for a move on the inside of 3 and 4. Here comes Thomas Harmon making it 3 wide, moving down, back down to 2 wide. Gonna give Thomas Harmon the run in 1 and 2. Just tapping the wall. We're going to see a lot of people earning their Darlington stripes here tonight. If you don't know what a Darlington stripe is, it's where you're running so hard you scrape the wall a little bit. Thomas Harmon this time really getting into the wall. That's not the way to earn your Darlington stripe. Travis Masia, he's currently P11. Looks like the only person we're waiting on for a lap time now is Travis Dart. That's the 20th person in the server. There's Chris Champeau, he's currently P8. One of those ones who's in the hunt for the title. Oh, Frank. Oh, Frank had a big bit of trouble coming out of turn 2. That went from being a single car crash into being a 6-car pile-up. I'm pretty sure it was Matt Horton there for a period of time who had someone up on his windscreen. It's Brian Chambliss in the 21. He's currently P10. He's one of those ones trying to fight his way into the championship fight. A little bit chilly over here in Australia right now. Another person looking at trying to get into the title fights, TJ Crampton. Tied 11th with Brian Chambliss. But with 4 races to go, these drivers are going to have to start getting themselves sorted out. There is Travis Start in the 6. Now have 21 drivers here to compete, as Matt Burgess has an issue coming onto the main straight. I remember once upon a time, turn 2 here used to be terrible turn 2. That was back when the start-finish line was on the other side of the track. So what we know now is turn 4 could be terrifying turn 2. You could never pass to the outside of it because you'd end up in the fence. It looks like the majority of people are in the pits again, so we might be getting another pit party here shortly. Everyone sans Travis Start. It was actually the 11 car, but he's running the number 6 on the side of the truck tonight. So I could also be sans Brian Burchett. He's running around on the track at high speed. Although he just stopped on the entry to 3, so he's probably going to jump onto the back of the pack. Oh, there goes Travis. He was running hard and then he saw the pack. All right, let's see how these static TV cameras go for a pit party. Yeah, it looks like these static cameras are going to do the job. So there is that one camera angle that we're adjusting on as we speak. This one. Oh, we've only got 4 minutes left in practice now too. It's time for these guys to start putting in some serious practice times. It might be worth a couple of these guys peeling off to practice a qualifying run as around goes Hernandez. Everyone managed to miss him. Around goes Frank Isaacson as well. There's Brian Burchett. John Rosell running pretty hard there. Rosel's going for the move on Chris Champeau going into turn 1 and 2. Oh, contact! Champeau just got shoved into the fence. Cameron Sutton also got a little bit of contact and all that. Oh. Jonathan Hernandez nowhere to go, as he was recovering from feeling loose. But it's now almost the end of practice here, so we're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to see how qualifying unfolds for these drivers. So make sure you guys stay tuned. More from the Gladiator 100 here from the Darlington Speedway coming up shortly. Qualifying has come to an end, and we now have the starting grid for the Gladiator 100 here from the Darlington Raceway. Starting off the pole is going to be the 23 car of John Lazelle. On his outside will be the 21 of Brian Chambliss. Starting out of P3 will be the 13 of Travis Massey, with P4 being the 2 of Chris Champeau. P5 will be the 38 of Thomas Harmon, with P6 the 39 of James Watson. P7 will be the 100 of Brian Burchett, with P8 being the 94 of Cameron Sarton. P9 will be the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez, and wrapping up your top 10 will be the 33 of Matt Horton. Then out of 11th, we're going to have Ken Campbell. 12th will be Travis Dart. 13th will be Jonas Marquez. 14th, Kyle Kraus. 15th, Matt Burgess. 16th will be Frank Isaacson. 17th will be Mark Pentacuff. 18th will be Brian Harris. 19th, Brian Pisakemi. 20th, Brandon Bennett. And last but not least, Alexandra Butters will be starting out of the 21st position. 21 drivers in the field, 22 people in the server altogether. 26.73 is the strength of field. 100 laps of the Darlington Raceway to be completed. All right, here we go. We're going to be going green straight away. The first start is on green. All the restarts will be on the leaders. We come out of turn 4.
Go.
And we're off and racing here for the Output Racing League. Gladiator 100 from the Darlington Raceway. And John Lazelle taking the lead straight away, although on his outside, here comes the 21 of Brian Chambliss, making a very strong move as they come through turn 2. And it seems like the outside line will have the advantage as long as you can get the jump. Oh, and Lazelle got a little bit loose there coming out of turn 4. He's going to lose a whole bunch of positions because of that. That's going to make things a little bit hairy for some of these drivers going through turn 1 and 2 this time. And it looks like he's finally got himself slotted into a position. Although Brian Burchett now getting loose 3 wide along the back straight. And Jonathan Hernandez sneaks up underneath John Lazelle. John Lazelle fell all the way down to 8th after starting on the pole. We've got the camera set to focus on crashes. Brian Chambliss still leading the way over Chris Champeau. 3 wide in the back of the pack there a little bit. I saw Frank Isaacson in the middle. And those guys got that all sorted out. The 8 of Brian Harris was involved in that one, and I think the 5 of Pentacuff as well. I'm pretty sure I just saw the 24 of Frank Isaacson up in the fence there in the middle of 3 and 4. It's going to allow Mark Pentacuff to come back up underneath him here. We're going back in to check on our leaders, Chambliss and Champeau. Sorry about that. Had to sneeze for a quick second. Didn't want to get that one on the broadcast. Chambliss and Champo continuing to lead this race, though. As it looks like Chambliss holding on to the slight advantage. See how that goes. We're already 7 laps into this race. The 7 laps will be complete when they get to the line here. And it looks like for the most part, everyone has gotten over the loose feeling of the early laps in the run. We're looking back at Mark Pentecoff towards the back of the pack. Now we jump up to Matt Burgess. He's currently running in 11th. He's on the outside of the top 10 looking in. There's Travis Start. He's actually the 11 car, running the 6 on the side of it tonight. But someone will have to tell him off for that. And it won't be me. Oh, there's contact between the 64 Marquez and the 8 of Brian Harris. And they somehow managed to keep that going straight. And no caution. It says it's 12 of Matt Burgess. He's dropped all the way back to 13th now. Although he is still positive as far as positional gain or loss. It's Brian Pizzicemi back up to Jonathan Hernandez now. He's up 3 from where he started. Got Matt Horton on his tail. There's still been no change for the lead, so it's still Chambliss, Champo, and Harmon in that order. I still just can't believe that move that Chambliss got on Champo. Just ahead of these guys, there is a move on for place. As Cameron Sarton gets around Travis Massier. Sarton now up 4 from where he started, Massier down 2. There's the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. He's also up 4 from where he started. And he's going to start chasing down Cameron Sarton now. This is the track that's too tough to tame, Darlington Raceway. There's Travis Massier. He's currently running in 7th. As I said, down 4 from where he started in this race. probably playing the conservation card, looking after his tires. There's Ken Campbell, currently in 11th. Got Matt Burgess behind him. He's got Kyle Kraus in front of him. Kyle Kraus, another one looking for good results to get into the top 10 in points. Matt Burgess moves his way back up into 11th now. Picking up a couple of those positions that he lost earlier. Oh, and into the back of James Watson goes the 12 of Matt Burgess. Gonna give both of them a bit of damage there. I think maybe James Watson has possibly made contact with the wall at some point. Very close quarters between himself and Ken Campbell there. That probably led to him going a little bit slower than maybe Matt Burgess was expecting. Matt Burgess now comfortably into the top 10. Got someone in the pits already. That is the 10 car of Alexandra Butters. I'm guessing Butters has been getting up close and personal with the wall a little bit too often. And that car's probably suffering with a lot of tightness right now, as Chris Champeau is under attack from from Thomas Harmon and Cameron Sarton. A big gap has formed between them and the leader of Brian Chambliss. It looks like Champeau is going to lose out on both of these positions and drop all the way back to 4th. It looked like he was trying to fight back on Sarton. Nothing really he could do about it, and he's definitely going to have damage of some kind with how quickly he's dropping back now. On that note, we're going to go to a commercial break now. When we come back, we'll be going until these guys start green flag pit stops. So make sure you guys stay tuned. More action here for the Output Racing League coming up very shortly. So make sure you guys stay tuned. And we are back. We caught up with one Alexandra Butters during that commercial break, and it turns out he just wanted to do a starting park here this week. He doesn't have the funds in the team to push through the whole race just in case something disastrous happens. They burnt through a lot of their budget earlier in the season with a couple of big crashes. Darlington's not a place that you want to take lightly. And they don't call it the track too tough to tame for nothing. There's Kyle Kraus. He's currently in 9th now. So he's gotten around Ken Campbell for 10th. Like Matt Burgess has dropped back to 11th. Our leader Brian Chambliss has a 1.6 second lead over Thomas Harmon. Thomas Harmon has another half a second lead over Cameron Sarton in 3rd. Chris Champeau has dropped back to 5th. It probably won't be too long before we see him dropping a little bit further if he's got a little bit of damage on that 2 truck. And very shortly it looks like Chambliss is actually not going to be far away from entering some serious lap traffic. Kyle Kraus in a furious battle with Ken Campbell still. Ken Campbell takes the advantage. My apologies. I was waiting for a sneeze and I got a cough. Got Matt Burgess there as well, trying to recapture the 11th position. In fact, I think Kyle Kraus has given it to him. And there's Brian Pizzakemi as well. He's made up a whole bunch of positions. There's Jonathan Hernandez. He's currently in 5th. He just got around Chris Champeau. And Roselle similarly looking for P6. You see the 64 of Jonas Marquez getting out of the way. Like our leader, Brian Chambliss, has gotten through a lot of the lap traffic. Now, Jonas Marquez having a lot of damage on that 64 truck. It looks like John Lozelle now does get around Chris Champeau. Chris Champeau now dropping down to P7. We should be only about 13 laps away from green flag pit stops here. That's if everyone is trying to do a 50-50 split on this race. So we might see some people trying to go that little bit longer. Oh, it's a 12 and Matt Burgess gets into the fence in the middle of 3 and 4. And that balked Brian Pizzakemi there a little bit. Almost left him open to attack from Kyle Kraus. Frank Isaacson is actually in the pits right now. He's going to lose out on a couple of laps. So now looking back at Travis Massier, he's in P8. Got Ken Campbell behind him. He's got Chris Champel in front of him. You know, I don't see any obvious damage on the 2 car of Chris Champel. I'm not sure whether he has earned a Darlington stripe yet or not. But just something doesn't seem quite right with that 2 truck. Just doesn't have the pace that we expect to see from him here tonight. But now here comes a big move from Travis Massier. Ran the outside line in 3 and 4 to gather up the momentum for this move here going into 1 and 2. He's still side by side with the 2 car, gets around him. And that was a pass that took an entire lap to make. There's Thomas Harmon, he's getting ready to put a lap on Travis Start. Chambliss is still 2 seconds up the road. Oh, John Lozelle all the way down at the inside fence there. I think he got loose coming out of turn 2. He's got the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez right on his tail. Frank Isaacson with his fresher tyres, starting to carve his way through this field a little bit. He's 2 laps down though, which is not going to work out too well for him. Even if we get a caution, he's still going to be 2 laps down, unless he gets a wave around. But he's definitely enjoying the temporary speed boost that he has on the rest of the field. And Chris Champel has entered the pits. So too has the 39 of James Watson. We've got people playing a strategy card. Travis Start's in as well, trying to pit a little bit earlier. Chris Chappell actually with the fastest lap of the race too. 29.426. Oh, contact, and around goes Jonas Marquez. He's all the way down on the apron, so no caution. I'm not sure who it was he had contact with there. But he's going to bring that 64 machine down into the pits. I think he also hit the barrels at the end of the pit lane. That's one thing about how wide the apron is here at Darlington. The track is actually very, very thin. You can barely get 3 wide anywhere on it. But once you count the apron in, which is like 10 lanes wide, it definitely changes the dynamic of a racetrack. As we've reached the halfway point, 50 laps down, 50 laps to go. Brandon Bennett letting a few people past. As I think he just went a lap down, actually. In the 14th position. But Travis Harmon trying to battle it out with Cameron Sarton, and then you got Travis Dart in behind him with fresher tyres. We've got the 13 and Travis Massio pitting. Got the 60 of Kyle Kraus, who's already in the pit lane. Chambliss is coming into the pit this time, our leader. So we've got a new leader in Travis Harmon right now. Sorry, Thomas Harmon. Words are hard, and caffeine is required. And now it's going to be on Thomas Harmon and Cameron Sarton when they're going to come into the pits. As Sarton hit the wall in the middle of 3 and 4. And coming up in between them is the 39er James Watson on his fresher tyres. Sarton will probably be getting a little bit frustrated about that little move. Oh! Ryan Harris getting in the way of James Watson that time. Ryan Harris just trying to hold on with his older tyres. Looks like he's going to come into the pits this time. Same too for Sarton. And Thomas Harmon coming into the pits too. This is going to leave Matt Horton in the lead of this race. Jonathan Hernandez is in P2 right now. But Ken Campbell and Brian Pizzicami also yet to pit. Same too for the 12 of Matt Burgess and the 1 of Brandon Bennett. There's Chris Champeau in the 2 car. He has pitted. As now in come Ken Campbell and Brian Pizzicami. Same too for Matt Horton, who's going to give Jonathan Hernandez the lead of this race. As is Brian Burchett with his fresher tyres. Kyle Kraus is already 2 laps down. He's coming back into the pits. There's just 2 left to pit. That's Jonathan Hernandez and Matt Burgess. And Hernandez is in this time. I think the 12 of Matt Burgess coming in this time too. Now this isn't going to give Brian Chambliss the lead back officially for this lap, as Jonathan Hernandez has crossed the start-finish line. But Brian Chambliss will be the leader of this race once more. So it's going to be Chambliss over Harmon and Chris Champo, who has worked his way back into third. But Chris Champo is on older tyres now, which could be a hindrance to his chances here tonight. And we only have 12 cars on the lead lap. First car 1 lap down is actually Frank Isaacson, believe it or not. So if we were to get a caution here, this would be a big help to the 24 car. It'd also be a big help to Brian Burchett, who's the first car 1 lap down. There is the 24 of Frank Isaacson and the lead of the 21 of Brian Chambliss. Brian Chambliss enjoys a 2.5 second lead over the second place Thomas Harmon. Thomas Harmon enjoying a 6 second lead over Chambliss. Not over Chambliss, over Champo. My apologies. Matt Burgess coming through these guys a little bit as well. He's on really fresh tyres. Frank Isaacson just tapped the wall there a little bit, coming out of turn 2, trying to get out of the way for the leaders. Brian Burchett, who pitted on the same lap as Brian Chambliss. Matt Burgess, who actually pitted after both of these guys, about 4 laps after. Who's just trying to make a move on one or both of them to try and get back onto the lead lap or a position as to where, if a caution were to come out, he would be the lucky dog recipient. There's Cameron Sarton. He's currently in 7th. And he's still stuck behind Brian Harris in the 8 car. Barton is now looking for a way around Brian Harris. Gonna go to the inside here in turns 1 and 2. Gonna make that move quite nicely. Now he's going to set his sights on the 13 of Travis Massia. 3-lap pressure tyres and Travis Massia does Cameron Sutton have. Sutton makes that move really easy. It's going to move Sutton up to P6 now. Travis Massia down to P7. And not too far behind those two is the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. There he is on screen right now. Currently looking at our leader, Brian Chambliss, as he now only enjoys a half-second lead over Thomas Harmon. Thomas has 3-lap pressure tyres. Travis Massia looks like he's having a bit of an issue. He's now dropped back to 8. The 5 of Mark Pensicup goes back into the pits. There's the gap between first and second. Thomas Harmon has been closing in. But Thomas Harmon only has 2-lap pressure tyres. Around Darlington, that means a lot. There's also some damage on that 21 truck. But at some point, Brian Chambliss has gotten into the fence. Either that or he's been rear-ended massively. So they're starting to catch up to Ken Campbell here in P10. The last car on the lead lap. And we're going to go for a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be keeping an eye on this battle, and we'll be going all the way through to the checkered flag to make sure you guys Stay tuned. And we are back with our leaders here in the Gladiator 100 from the Darlington Raceway. And this battle between Chambliss and Harmon is definitely starting to heat up now. We're in the final quarter of this race. And the margin is literally nothing. I mean, it is actually a crying shame if this damage on the back of the 21 truck is because of a lapped car. Because he was definitely the car to beat all race. After he made that outside pass for the lead at the very start of this race. It looks like Thomas Harmon trying to look for just any way around him, as Chambliss is making that truck very wide and very difficult to pass. But that damage would have to be affecting him in some way, shape or form. But right now, with just 20 and a half laps to go, this is where Thomas Harmon has to be the most patient. He can't go making a rash move as up the inside in 3 and 4 he goes. Can he make the move stick? Will Chambliss have the momentum advantage? At the moment, it's the momentum that's holding Chambliss in the lead. Chambliss using the outside lane, maintaining the lead right now. Great defense. As I said, this is where Harmon's going to have to be his most patient. Because if he makes a rash move in any way, shape or form, then that will be race over for both of these drivers. Especially around here at Darlington, where the track is not as wide as you think. Getting well and truly out of the way is the 64 Jonas Marquez. He says, I recognize this is a battle for the lead. I'm not going to be a part of it. They got one more lap car to negotiate. That's Brian Harris in the 8. And after that, they got a lot of clear track in front of them. And that would probably actually work to Brian Chambliss's disadvantage. He's trying to look for a way around Harris now. We'll probably get it here on the main straight as Harris pulls out of the way. And Thomas Harmon now all the way all over the bumper of Chambliss once more. Chambliss actually taking a wider exit out of 2 that time with the way that he diamond. Didn't turn in as early as Harmon for it. Harmon also trying to look for this inside lane in turn 4. Don't think that's going to work out for him. The momentum for Chambliss is just too great on that outside line. We've only got 15 laps to go. Thomas is really going to have to plan out his move here. He's going to have to execute it fairly soon. By now, he should know where Chambliss is the strongest and where he's the weakest. I see again, Harmon turning into turn 2 a lot sooner than what Chambliss is. That's where Chambliss is making up a lot of his speed. By taking that later exit. The laps are ticking away. These guys still battling it out furiously. And it's not like these guys have to worry about anyone else getting into this battle. There's a 12-second gap between Thomas Harmon and Matt Horton in third. So it is literally just all about these two right now. And Chambliss, as much as he would want this win, he's also got to think about the bigger picture of the championship. He's on the outside looking in right now in 11th. A win will definitely boost him up the standings. As I think Thomas Harmon actually got into the fence there in turn 2. Can't see any damage on his truck, but I know that he did scrape the wall there earlier on in the race too. As we've got 10 laps to go. The win would be excellent for Brian Chambliss, but it's not necessary right now. He could comfortably be in P2 here and not have to worry about it and still make his way into the top 10. But he's a racer, and that win is what he needs for himself. Let's see if there's anything else going on around the track right now. There's a little bit of a gap between these two, as I guess Thomas Harmon was just chilling his tyres out a little bit. There's a 60 Kyle Kraus. He's currently in 17th. Frank Isaacson just behind. I think Frank's actually pitted again at some point. Yeah, he did lap 73. He's got fresher tyres again. There's the two of Chris Champeau. He's currently in P7. He won't be happy with himself after the start of the race that he had. There's Jonathan Hernandez. Currently in P5. There's been a change for P3. John Lazelle's gotten around Matt Horton. But back to our leaders now. And I think Thomas Harmon has actually battled with everything he could, and now he's run out of fight. A 1 second gap between himself and Chambliss. Let's have a look at the stats for these two drivers real quick. Brian Chambliss has had 99 starts with 3 wins, 46 top 5s, a rating of 101. Thomas Harmon has 145 starts with 24 wins, 92 top 5s, and a rating of 111. The Chambliss is definitely looking for win number 4 here on his 100th start. And congratulations to him for making it to 100 starts in the Output Racing League. As we now only have 3 laps to go. And Thomas Harmon has definitely fallen off the perch now. But barring disaster, he'll definitely still hold on to P2. Just like barring disaster, Brian Chambliss is going to hold on to this win. Two laps to go now. Chambliss is just starting to catch up to Mark Pentacup, who is already 2 or 3 laps down. In fact, I think he's about 4 laps down because he pitted a couple of times. But here we go, white flag, last lap, last chance to win it or wear it for the 21 car of Brian Chambliss. And let's hope that my internet doesn't cut out like it did last week. And Chambliss just did everything that he had to do to maintain this win. He comes out of turns 3 and 4 for the final time. You want to hear it, Darlington, for the Gladiator 100. It's going to be the 21 of Brian Chambliss. Thomas Harmon is going to finish P2 with John Lazelle. Going to be finishing in P3. Jonathan Hernandez actually made his way up into 4th for the finish of that race. So Matt Horton lost out on a couple more positions, finishing in P6. And that's the way that the race has ended. Gonna get some victory burnouts here from Brian Chambliss, as he almost just steered it straight into the fence. He's just gonna do a burnout up against the fence. How about that? Alright, so that's where we're going to leave it here. We're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have driver interviews. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Alrighty, we are back. And it's time for our Hard Charger Award winner. And this is obviously sponsored by Autism Awareness. Our Hard Charger Award winner for this week is going to be 88 of Mr. Jonathan Hernandez. Jonathan, not very often we see you in a hard charger position. Not the greatest of qualifying, but you definitely turned it into a pretty good race for yourself.
Yeah, qualifying just abysmal from my end. I just screwed up my second lap. So, I mean, we started mid pack. Nothing to complain about. Just lap one worries, but we got through it and made the charge back up to top five towards the end of the race, which, I can't complain about. Uh, Top five here is hard to get. So, overall, I mean, it was a great race for me. And uh, I'm glad we're just done with this track already.
Yeah, it definitely looked like from what practice was showing us that, especially early on in the run, very, very loose cars coming out of turn two. So how did you, work yourself around that to make sure that you stayed out of trouble?
Yeah, cold tires were just a pain here. I almost spun out twice after the green flag stopped. So uh, it's just the first five laps, pretty much. It's free. Then after that, it feels smooth until the tightness kicks in from all the dirty air. So that first half of the run was just terrible. On the handling, I was tight. I was trying to keep it off the wall. I was hearing on the radio from other drivers that they were also, struggling with tightness. I know Champo was struggling the most, so um, I'm just glad that second half of the run I was able to manage the tires and pick off a few more spots and put myself in position for a hard charger. Not top three, but still, yeah, it's still an award.
I was just about on the cusp of a top three, as you were actually pretty close to maybe gobbling up John Lizelle there towards the end of the race, but you just had a lot of pace there coming up towards the end of the race.
Yeah, and I gotta give first credit to Chambliss with his win. I know it's been a while for him, and he's excited for it. But yeah, in my opinion, I think Chambliss, Harmon, and Lazille were class of the field, and Cameron. Uh, I was I wouldn't say surprised, but I wasn't prepared to see Cameron as quick as he was in practice and qualifying, and through the race he showed his pace. But I got to give credit to them. They're quicker than me, but I think just strategy is what played in. I think staying out pretty much the last car on the field to pit it is what enabled me to pick them off because fresh tires is key here with the surface of the track.
All right, now let's talk about the race as a whole. Darlington is not known as being one of the easier tracks to make passes on. And, obviously, as a hard charger, you were able to make some passes where it counted. What was it like for you trying to make your way through the field to get up into that position?
Well, with how narrow the corners are, one and two, it's especially tricky because of how narrow and how much of banking there is. And there's a few instances where we almost got caught up in a wreck, and you got to deal with that, especially for position. Then you also got to throw in the factor of the lap cars, especially that have damage. So it's pretty much every single lap is just not the same as the previous one. It's you have to prepare for the next one, and it was just you had to pretty much pre-plan of what your next move is going to be put forward the corner. So I can't remember what lap it was. I know me and Travis almost wrecked, mainly because the corner exit. I had a better corner exit than he did, and we almost wrecked. So I mean, it was just mind mind juggling, trying to make sure keep the truck clean, keep it you know clean air and everything at the same time, not wreck, not cause a wreck, not get involved in a wreck. So I think we did that perfectly. We executed it great, and overall, it just made the race easier for me.
All right, now let's look forward towards next week, Jonathan. Going to be going to the Kansas Speedway. The feeling like for you as we head into one of the more uniquely shaped tracks on the schedule.
I love Kansas. I think I've had great success there. I don't remember statistics, but I know I got a few wins there. So um, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, we get another decent run. Maybe just a win. We'll see. But I'm looking forward to it. Should be an exciting race. I think the handling's going to come into key also, just as much as this. And I think it'll be either a great race or we're going to have another Dega Wreckfest.
All right, Jonathan, before we let you go, we know you got some shout outs that you got to do. So, who you got to shout out here this week?
Yeah, of course. I got to thank my family and a quick shout out to my mom with Mother's Day coming up this Sunday. So, quick shout out to her. My wonderful, lovely girlfriend who supports me, and on the name rail on the passenger side is her dog that passed 2 years ago, I believe. So ever since then, her dog's name has been on my name rail on the passenger side. So uh, I give shout out to her, thank her, and of course all our sponsors here that are with us in the Triad Racing Enterprises team. Stent Analyzer, Susan Media, RPM Motorsports, Shorba Racing Graphics. We got Save the Music Foundation on this week also, and Stent Analyzer. I don't remember if I pointed them out, and Alog Projects. So without them, long sponsor list, but thankful for them. Thankful for the partnerships. I know we're gonna have a long partnerships with them. So just carry on this momentum to next week and hope for the best.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming out, Jonathan. Congratulations on not just taking home P4, but also taking home the Hard Charger Award for this week. I look forward to seeing what you can do next week when we go to Kansas.
And taking home everyone's interview time.
And we don't complain about it because we're glad to have the chance to talk to you.
Thank you, Corey, and thank you to Jaron and everyone over here in Output for putting on an amazingly broadcast.
All right, thank you very much, Jonathan. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Corey.
All right, so that was Jonathan Hernandez, our fourth place getter here tonight. And, obviously, great racer, well deserving of the Hard Charger Award. And we look forward to seeing what he does next week because, he always takes up everyone's interview time, but we fucking love him for it. And that's my one for the broadcast. Coming up next, we're going to have our third place getter. And today's third place getter is going to be the 23 of Mr. Jonathan Lazelle. Jonathan, it's not
Hey,
very
how you
often.
doing?
Not very often we see you in this kind of a position. Now, you've only got 21 top fives previous to this race, but now make that 22 on your 74th start here in the Output Racing League.
Yeah, I'm just trying. Once again, I had the pole and I didn't lead a lap. So next time I'll probably take the outside. That way I could get a better run. I think tonight I just took that bottom lane and killed myself.
Yeah, it definitely was a bit of a strange start, honestly, because I wasn't expecting myself for Brian Chambliss to get such a run on the outside line there at the start.
Yeah. So like when I went in the turn one, I had him clear, and then I started coming up, and then he was already pushing. And I'm like, I'm just not gonna risk anything right now. And basically, I just let off, and then I got loose coming out of 3 and 4, or yeah, 3 and 4, and that just killed everything. I just had to fall back and save it, and I think I was like ninth or something, and then I just had to work my way back, and I knew it was over by then. I just had to try to get a top 5.
Well, it was definitely an incredible fight back to work your way back up into a podium position. What was the race like as a whole, dealing with like the looseness of the early run on fresh tires, and then comparing that to the tightness of the end of the run?
Actually, yeah, the looseness in the beginning was really bad. You just had to manage it, and then the end of the run was fine. I had my marks and everything. It's just when you got behind somebody, it was extremely tight for some reason. Like it just took all the air off of your front nose and it just plowed right into the wall. That's what I think I scraped the wall 3 or 4 times when I got behind somebody. But it was a fun race. I liked Darlington.
All right, now let's talk about the pit strategy here because tires mean absolutely everything around this track. What was the thought process like going into that green flag stop?
Well, when I went in, I was gonna, run the gas all the way out, and then Brian pitted. So I'm like, oh, next lap I got to pit. It's gonna be too bad, because I think you're giving up almost 3 seconds, at the end of the run. So I pitted, and I think it kind of worked out.
All right, well, let's look forward towards next week, John, and we're going to be going to Kansas. What's the feeling like for you as we head into possibly one of the windiest tracks on the schedule?
I love Kansas. It's one of my favorite tracks. It's just you got to make sure you're in the front and you can control the whole race. You know, so we'll have to try to go for the pole again, and this time be a lot better because Kansas is really fun and I enjoy that track a lot.
All right, man, before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Always your channel, Corey, and my daughter, and Output Racing. It's a fun league.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming out, John. Look forward to seeing what you can do
All
next
right.
week when we go to Kansas.
Thank you. You have a good night.
All right, guys, that was John Lazelle, our third place getter here tonight in the 23 car. As my Discord's been a little bit silly and not letting me drag people straight away like I want it to. Coming up next, we're going to have our second place getter here tonight. And he definitely tried putting up a good fight towards the end of the race, but just started to fall off. Of course, it's going to be the 38 of Mr. Thomas Harmon. Thomas, did your tires just start giving up towards the end of the race there, mate?
Yeah, I got damaged early in the race, like on lap 15 or somewhere around there, and it just made the truck an absolute plow box. So I knew that the only chance I had was the first time I got under Chambliss, but instead of using him up into one, when I was under him, I lifted, and I unfortunately lifted too much and let him get out in front. And at that point, I kind of knew it was over. Just kind of last ditch effort there at the end and caught the wall again.
Oh, that's unfortunate. But let's talk about the race as a whole. You were there or thereabouts towards the front for the majority of the race, and the trucks were a very difficult beast here tonight. Being very loose early in the run, transitioning into being plowing tight, especially behind traffic. What was it like for you just trying to deal with the way that the truck was feeling as the race progressed?
Oh, it felt great until I told the first time. But then it was just constantly fighting a really, really tight condition. And um, especially when you got close to somebody, it would get really extremely tight. And it was hard, difficult to pass anybody, even the lap cars.
All right, let's look forward to next week then. We're going to be going to the Kansas Speedway. What's the feeling like for you heading into Kansas for what should be a pretty exciting race?
I don't know. I expect that we'll all be grouped up there for a while, but if we get a green flag run, it should get spread out. But I don't remember if the truck tightens or loosens as the run goes on, but that'll be an experiment. So look forward to it.
All right, Thomas, before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yep. Shout out to you up in the booth for broadcasting it. All the fans that watch, drivers show up, all the admins, and Jeremy for putting on the league, and everyone on the side of the truck.
All right, thank you very much for coming out, Thomas. Congratulations on P2, and we look forward to seeing what you can do next week when we head into Kansas.
I'll be there. Have a good one.
All right, there we go. Our second place getter in what was a very quick interview for the 38 of Mr. Thomas Harmon. Coming up next, going to be talking to our winner, and what a winner it was, absolutely dominating the entire race. Not bad for his 100th race here in the Output Racing League. Of course, we're going to be talking to the 21 car of Mr. Brian Chambliss. Brian, getting a race win on race number 100 for your career here in ORL, definitely nothing to sneeze at.
Oh, wow. I did not know it was my 100th race, but that's a hell of a way to do it. But man, it is feels like, I don't know, 4 years since I've been able to have a winning interview. So this is nice for a change, but definitely had to work for it tonight, that's for sure.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a bit of a challenge out there, and it all started with that one incredible pass on lap one on the outside of John Lizelle.
Yeah, I knew. It's a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. You always want to start on pole and be up front, but second, Darlington isn't so bad if you can stay on the guys outside into the corner, and then on exit they gotta they have to pinch theirs off a little bit, and especially earlier, and where the tires are pretty even, and if you can be out there, you can get that run off. And luckily, I was able to do it, and John got a little loose, but then it was smooth sailing until around when the pit stops came. Um,
How was it like trying to deal with the lap traffic? Because we noticed towards the end of the race there, you actually had some quite significant rear end damage. So I'm assuming at some point you got rear ended by someone who had fresher tires than yourself.
yeah, he had a little fresher tires, and then just I had a little fresher tires as the guy in front of me, and we got kind of stacked up. But yeah, right before pit stops, I was doing, I had a good lead, probably a 2.5 second lead, and that's kind of where I wanted to be heading into the pit stops. I either wanted to be the first in or the very last guy in, and luckily Thomas seemed like he was on the same kind of strategy as me. It was run basically as long as possible, but then I uh, got behind. I think it was Harris, and I just couldn't get around him, and then I lost a bunch of times, and I ended up having to pit earlier than I wanted to because Thomas was closing in, and I wanted to, if I wanted to keep any type of gap to him, I knew at that point I just needed to kind of come in, but then when I got back out there, yeah, it was. You know, it's is a momentum track, and when guys are on different tires, they don't have the same momentum as you, and you don't have the same momentum as them, and sometimes you come together on corner exit, and that's kind of what happened. Me and Frank were communicating, and he said he was going to go low, but at that point, I was already pretty much committed to running my line, and I got Thomas running me down, and other guys on quicker tires behind me. So it's kind of what it was. But luckily, it didn't affect me too much. But I definitely felt like Thomas was probably a little better than me there towards the end. Plus, him having a couple extra tire or couple lap advantage on me on tires was, helped out a little bit.
Yeah, and Thomas actually said to us that that one move that he tried making late in the race was pretty much his only chance to try and get around you, and he actually caught the wall after that as well. So what was it like for you just trying to hold him off with that battle, knowing that you had that rear end damage and not knowing what his car was like damage wise?
Yeah, I didn't know he got into a little bit of a tangle at the beginning of the race, and then I didn't think I had any damage, but I was just, I still had a little bit of a gap and was trying to save a little bit of tire, and I was okay with giving up a little bit of track time just because I wanted to, balance it out to where we could get our tires about even with me saving a little bit, and I just was trying to stay in front of him, and I knew if I just didn't get into the wall, didn't really make too many big mistakes, that I could probably be okay to hold him off. And he actually kind of helped me. He got his nose in underneath me once in 3 and 4, and I heard him shift, and I hadn't been shifting all race. And I was like, he's been better than me in 3 and 4, so I need to change. So I did, and then after that, it kind of seemed like we were pretty even all over the track. And at that point, I knew as long as I didn't make a mistake, I could probably hold him off. And luckily, I wasn't the one that made the mistake, and Thomas was, and it ultimately helped me pull away and cruise to a pretty decent win there towards the end. But he definitely made me work for it for about lap 80 to 91 or so. It it kept me honest, that's for sure.
This also helps you out in the standings a little bit. You were on the outside of the top 10 looking in, and I think with this win, this actually puts you into the top 10 now. So how does that feel as we're now only 3 races away from the playoffs?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I missed a couple races to start the season, and then the few races before this, I just could not. I couldn't get out of it. I ended up either getting wrecked or something bad would happen in front of me. I couldn't avoid it. It just wasn't going my way. I felt like I had the speed, and either I would mess up qualifying and be back in the pack, and then have to work too hard to get around guys, and just some unfortunate events the previous two races. So I was lucky to even be in the position that I was, and then this year helps quite a bit. So hopefully I'm in. I haven't seen the points. Honestly, I didn't even know I was close because I knew I'd had some bad races and I missed a couple races to start the year. So that's nice to know. I definitely got to keep tidy these next three races and make sure that I end up finishing them well.
I'm going to have a look at the points right now coming into this race. We're tied P11 with TJ Crampton on 299 points, 15 behind Jonas Marquez, who was sitting in P10.
Yeah, that should have jumped me because I think Jonas finished 16th tonight. So that should get me in, but that's not a very big buffer. So I gotta, like I said, I gotta keep all my P's and Q's and watch out for some mayhem.
All right, now let's look forward towards next week. We're going to be going to the Kansas Speedway. So what's it feeling like for you as we head into Kansas?
I love Kansas. Kansas is really good for me. I haven't run it too much in the trucks, but yeah, it seemed like, at least going off previous builds or whatnot, you could run the top side, you could run the low side, and keep pretty decent pace. Just managing your tires. But Kansas has always been good for me. I love Kansas, so I'm pretty confident heading into that one, and hopefully, we can duplicate the results. But definitely, I'm looking forward to Kansas. I like Kansas and Darlington. I don't know why, but when I first raced here, I was like, I hate this track. I can't get it. It's junk. And then all of a sudden, I started doing well. So I was like, hey, maybe I like this place. It just seems like recently I've been all right here. So I'm glad to, keep it up. And then hopefully we keep the momentum going into next week and we'll close this thing out and be in the playoffs. And then maybe we can make some noise when these points reset.
All right, man. Sounds like a solid plan. But before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you, broadcasting, and everyone in this league. All these guys have done a great job keeping this thing going and bringing in new guys, and a lot of new faces, but a lot of the same old faces, and we all seem to mesh together pretty well. So it's a testament to these guys here in the admins for running this thing. I also like to, lastly, thank my family for letting me doing this. They're waiting on me to go eat dinner, so probably gonna get off of here and go do that. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming out. Congratulations on getting the win, and congratulations as well for getting a win on your 100th start. Definitely a milestone you should be proud of, mate.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That's pretty nice. So I'll drink. I'll have one of that one tonight. That's for sure.
All right, mate. We'll see you next week when we head to Kansas.
Later.
All right, guys. So that was the 21 of Brian Chambliss, tonight's winner, and he did it on his 100th start here in the Output Racing League, which is incredible, honestly. But that is going to wrap things up for us.